Caggese. Today we're going to do something completely different. We're going to make gravy slash sauce. Italian sauce, Italian gravy, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It's like Pepsi and Coke or mayonnaise and Miracle Whip. I don't care. Let's get started. Okay, things we're going to need to get started. Oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, oregano, basil, breadcrumbs, fresh garlic and onion, fresh basil, ground meat. I use puree and paste, eggs, sausage, hot and sweet, or just sweet if you don't like hot. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is get it started. We're going to put our puree in. 1, 2, 3. Now, I put 1 can of water per 1 can of puree. 1. Hopefully you get the rest of the puree out of the can this way. You don't have to go a full can because it's going to be too thin. Some people like it real thin, some people like it real thick. If you like it thick, you probably use crushed tomatoes. I use puree. It's my grandmother's recipe. Then we get our paste. Going to need a fork. Put your paste in there. We'll get it all in there because if anything's going to thicken it up, it's going to be the paste. Alright. You're going to want to have the heat on. I would put it on very lightly, like 2 or maybe even 1. Very low flame, very low heat. Because you're going to burn the sauce if you do that, if you go too high. Alright? Sometimes it's hard to get this all out of here, so that means you add a little water to the cans, and you mix it around. You want to add, again, 1 can of water for 1 can of paste, but the key is to get all this paste out of here. Sometimes you got to use a spoon to really get it, which is where I should have grabbed the first time. Alright. Alright. Now we got all our paste out. Throw out our trash. Try to work clean. What I like to do is kind of smash it down a little bit. Slotted spoon, just kind of smash it down, get it a little like that. Now we're going to add our stuff. A little parsley. A little oregano. A little oregano. Not a whole lot because oregano is very strong. If you have fresh basil, now's the time to put it in. This basil is fresh frozen. I grew it in the garden, and I was able to freeze it. And throw a little store-bought basil in too. Throw a little store-bought basil in too. Alright. Stir it up. Stir it up. You want to break apart that fresh basil a little bit. Stir it all in there. Now, salt. About a palm's worth of salt. Or a palm and a half, we'll say. 1. Actually, let's go 2. Let's go 3 palms of salt because we use 3 cans of contadina puree. All right, 3 palms of salt, give or take. I know, no rocket science here, right? No rocket science. Play it by ear, it's called. While that's going on, now we're going to make our meatballs. So now let's get ready for our meatballs. Put your meat in there. So for every 1 pound of meat, you use 1 egg. We're mixing it up here. We got organic eggs too. That's all they had at the store. That's alright. These eggs are cage free. That means they get to run around the cages and make lots of eggs. It's good stuff. We're going to add salt, pepper, onion powder, a little basil. I don't know, basil can't hurt, right? Why not? A little basil, onion powder, garlic powder, of course. Of course. And breadcrumbs. These are Italian style breadcrumbs. You can use regular breadcrumbs since we used all that other stuff in there. But the Italian style has mixed in a lot of the stuff we just used. Mix it together. Of course, you're going to wash your hands first. Trust me, I did. Mix it together. You want it to be, the consistency can't be very sloppy. So as you go, you're going to add a little bit more and more breadcrumbs to kind of dry it up a little bit. You don't want it too dry. Too dry makes the meatballs break apart after they're cooked. What we do is we take our meat, roll it around like this, put it on a plate. Put it on a plate. Okay, while we're making our meatballs, little trick. Have the water running. Make the meatball. Rub your hands under the water. This makes it easier to roll these. If you don't, what happens is the fat from the meat gets a little bit sticky on your hands. Every once in a while you throw your hands under the water and you're going to make a nice, decent sized little meatball. Okay? Okay, now we're going to put our meatballs in our oil. I have the oil at a pretty hot temperature. Put them in like a, I'll put them in a circular thing in the pan here. Nice circular. And lower it a little bit so the oil doesn't go crazy. This is basically we're browning the meatballs off. We're not cooking them all the way. They're going to cook in the gravy because the gravy they'll be in there for about 4 hours. So they're definitely going to get cooked in the gravy. Let that go for a little bit. While that's cooking, we prepare our onion and our garlic. Alright, so we get our onion. I already cut the tips off it. This is a purple onion. I usually don't use purple. I use usually a white onion or a yellow onion. The way I do my onion is like this. This. Careful not to cut your finger, of course. And we go this way. Then we just flip it over, and then the magic happens, see? Little onions, little pieces of onion. Alright. Dice it up. Again, don't cut yourself. Cutting yourself is not fun. Alright. Now our onions are ready. I'm going to go turn the meatballs. Okay, it's time to turn the meatballs. So we get the meatballs, there's a nice brown on one side. We flip them over. There you go. That's what we want. We want that little brown look to them. This one rolled back on me. This one's fighting me a little bit, so would beat it because we do like that and like that. Now while they're browning, we take our onions that we just cut. We throw our onions in here. Next we get our garlic. Anybody see the movie Goodfellas? Where Paulie was cutting the garlic with a razor blade. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Peel the garlic as you would. Fresh garlic, of course. We use a garlic press. Garlic press can go into our meatballs. And into our gravy that we have cooking on the side. I just did about a clove, 2 cloves, do a couple cloves in the sauce, right? And a couple of cloves in the meatballs. Mix it it around so these go to the bottom, the onions and stuff, and let them continue to cook. Okay, it's time to add our meatballs to our gravy. Get a little bit of that oil off of them because it makes the sauce greasy. Nobody likes greasy sauce. It gives you acid indigestion. Alright. We just wanted to brown these off, so they're pretty good. They finish cooking in the gravy. Or the sauce, whatever you want to call it. I am not part of that big deal. People make a big deal out of it. I don't care what you call it. We could call it the stuff you put on spaghetti or raviolis or menegatti or gnocchis. Okay, we could call it that instead. The red stuff. Alright. Keep going. I made a lot of meatballs today, more than I usually do, for this amount of gravy. What I do now is, I like to brown off the sausage. So, and that could be called sausage or sausage, whatever you want to call it. Again, hot, sweet, whatever you like, we put it. You gotta have some kind of pork in the gravy. Sometimes I put pork chops. Country style ribs. They're basically a loin cut in half. That's a good piece of pork to put in here. I'm doing this again just to brown off the sausage. I just want it browned off. You could put it right in. It doesn't matter. I've seen that done. I brown it off. Okay, we're ready to add our sausage to our sauce. Got a nice little brown to it. Lower this, or even shut it off. Kind of mix it in like so. Alright. Take our slotted spoon, wash the gravy off, or sauce, whatever you want to call it. We go around here, we're grabbing all these onions, putting that right in. See? And you mix it around like so. So essentially now it's ready. You just got to put the lid on. The lid goes on for 2 hours. I leave a little vent so some steam can get out. I go 2 hours with it, 2 hours without it. Stirring it in between. Okay, so it's been 4 hours. 2 hours with the lid on, 2 hours with the lid off. As you can see, we got some nice sauce here, right? So what I do then is, I have all these containers I use, like this and this, and these. You get these in a Chinese wonton soup or something. You save the container. Take out your meatballs, well, your sausage, your meatballs, 2, 3, 4, something like that. All right. Alright, maybe another piece of sausage. Mix it up. You put your gravy in there, sauce, whatever you want to call it. I really, like I said before, I don't care what you call it. That red stuff is fine with me. Right? Get your gravy, sauce, red stuff, put the lid on it, put it in the freezer, and you have dinner for as many nights as this makes. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time.